YouTubers, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the Tailorette, and this video is about how to make your clothes or costumes, whatever you're doing, look professional or like you actually are sewing for a good reason rather than just a home hobby. We all know that that one comment of "you made that yourself" is a little bit of an off-putting comment. It's an honest comment. But anyways, you get my drift. Obviously, if you're making historical dresses, you probably will get a comment of "did you make that?" because obviously those aren't sold in malls, right? And this video, I will be giving you principles. I'll start with point number one is fabric. When I have a choice of what project I want to make, say I want to make an 18th century dress. Well, okay, so now I'm going to go look for fabric. Here's the deal, especially with historical clothing, any clothing really, but especially with historical clothing, natural fibers are just the best. You can't go wrong with linen, cotton, silks. All those things make your dresses look just that much better. I can guarantee you in those films where you're like, wow, I want to make a dress just like that, natural fibers are probably what they're using. I also look at the drape of a fabric. Sometimes I'm working on a dress that I want to look light and airy. I think when I first started sewing, I just started buying fabric and I was like, oh, this looks great. And some fabrics are too heavy and some fabrics are too light for what I'm going for. Really study your project and figure out, what am I going for? The Cinderella dress that I made, that dress, I still don't feel is lightweight enough. I could not find a material that was lighter than that. And plus, I did not want to spend a lot of time on it. However, I did find the lightest weight cotton voile that I could find, because of regular cotton, which I feel like in a lot of beginner situations, a lot of sewists will pick just a regular cotton and say, oh, this is blue, this looks, you know, Cinderella-y. But when you actually look at the Cinderella dress is so light and airy. Or whatever fabric it was a lot more lightweight than even a cotton voile. But a cotton voile was the lightest I could get. That leads me to my second point. Color. Now I know that this can go underneath the fabric point, but this one I felt like I needed to make it separate. And if you know me, you'll know that color really, really matters to me, like a lot. Unless you're going for a certain feel that's kind of tacky. Okay, I'm not saying that primary colors are bad. There are people who use primary colors and they do a great job doing it. However, you don't want to find just your basic color like pink. Okay, we've got pink and we've got blue. I found with historical clothes, muted toned fabrics, it looks toned. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, I love the color coral. However, if I were to just grab the color coral and just make a dress out of coral, it would look tacky. It really would. It has to be muted. It has to be somewhat like warm tone, because I'm a warm tone. My skin is very warm tone. For you, it might be cooler tone, but it's more muted. The quality of color matters. On my Pinterest board of the Tailorette, I have a board all about the colors that I like and the colors that go with the colors that I like. And you can find those palettes all over Pinterest. You just type in color palette and you just start picking the ones that you're drawn to and start pinning them. And then you start figuring out, oh, these are the colors that I should be looking for. Now I'm going to move on to the actual project. When you have your fabric, you've picked your color, you know what dress you're going to make, proper fitting matters. Now I'm here to tell you that a lot of people are like, this pattern didn't work, and there's all these websites with pattern reviews, which are really helpful because then you know where things could go wrong with the pattern that you're using. You want to have a heads up on those things. But I will tell you, a project should not depend on whether the pattern is good or not. Here's why. Because a pattern is made for a basic body type and not everybody fits that body type size. There are different types of shapes. I pick a pattern that I like, or I might make up my own pattern, but I'm going to assume that we're using patterns. I cut out the size that I think would generally fit me, and if one of the measurements I feel like are going to be too small on me, I might go a size bigger, and I'll scale it all down and fit it to me. So basically I'll just be like, you know, this part's baggy. I'm going to take in this dart. I'm going to add a dart. I'll take in this side seam. I'll take in the back seam. If it's a lace up in the back, I'll take in the lace up in the back because that just makes sense. And I hardly ever follow a pattern to the T and say, oh, this all has to be 5/8 all the way down here. This has to be a 1/4 inch here. No, it's what fits me. Pattern is a base. Think of it that way. So when you're fitting a garment, use common sense of saying this needs to be taken in, that needs to be taken in, this doesn't need to be taken in. And it makes it look quality. That's the key. A lot of beginners just make it from beginning to end. They don't try it on. They're just like, oh, this size is supposed to fit me. It's just like when I go into the store and I put on an outfit. This looks great. Pressing your garments, it's key, guys. Pressing should be actually number one in this video. Pressing is huge. Most of my projects where people go, wow, that's amazing, like pleats and the Jackie Kennedy dress, all those projects, if I did not do pressing, if I did not press any of that stuff and I just folded and sewed, everything has to be pressed flat. Unless you're going for ruffles that are really big and fluffy, I prefer to even have my ruffles pressed. I even press my ruffles. Yeah. I'm that obsessive with pressing. So pressing is what gives impressiveness. Your iron is just as important as your sewing machine. Just remember that. And when some instruction says somewhere, press this seam open, press it open, press it to the back, press it to the back. You're wanting everything to be smooth. Make that your goal. Everything on your garment is supposed to be smooth. No snagging, no sometimes rippling you can't actually do with pressing, so that doesn't go under the pressing definition. But when things are not smooth and they're pressed wrong or sloppily, that will give you a homemade look. And going through all my YouTube projects, you're talking everything's pressed. We've got pressed. I even pressed my trim after I finished this one. That's pressed. This majorly Jackie Kennedy is pressed. All of these are pressed. Even the ruffles and the ruching on that is pressed. Everything is pressed. So think just one last piece to give you before I end this video. Just think about your sewing project as if it's a painting. When you look at a painting, you just see everything flows together, right? The colors, the scene. And you might say, how does that relate to when I'm making a dress? Well, it does in a sense. A dress has a similar idea in that everything flows together. Color, pattern, feel, what are you going for? What look are you going for? So guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my stuff coming out and actually how I sew things, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and I will see you next time.